Hey guys, it's Miss Smith here, and today's video is going to be going over trihybrid crosses. So if you're watching this video, you're obviously probably working on this assignment right here where we have trihybrid cross skin color analysis. Okay, so the point of this assignment is to basically analyze this trihybrid cross. Okay, so let's break down what a trihybrid cross is, okay? And in order to do that, we need to talk about crosses that we're already familiar with. So what we have seen so far in the assignments that we've been doing prior to this one, we've been doing Punnett squares. Now, remember, a Punnett square is a tool, okay? It's a tool. However, there are different types of Punnett squares. So the one that we are most familiar with, right, the one that we have been working on the most is this type of Punnett square. And again, it should be familiar, mono hybrid cross. Okay? So mono hybrid cross. So let's break down what that means. Okay? So mono, okay, this word mono is going to mean one. Okay? And then so let's break that down. Mono means one, okay? Now, when we're talking about a monohybrid cross, we're only talking about traits, one specific allele, one specific trait. So this could be a number of things. So let's just keep it simple, okay? Maybe we've seen something like this. All right, so mono, meaning we're working with just an allele, one letter, okay? Let's say, for example, let's go ahead and just do our cross real quick. Notice in each box, even though I might have a capital B or a lowercase b, they're still all B's, okay? So that's where that word mono comes from. One, we're dealing with one allele. We're dealing with one letter, okay? Now, let's just keep it simple with the letter B. We're just working with the letter B. Regardless if it's a dominant B or a recessive B, it's still the letter B, okay? So for example, let's say we did something like this. We know that the offspring, the babies, are either going to have brown eyes or blue eyes based off of this, okay? But it's not always that clear cut, right? We know that there are different color eyes, right? We know that there are green eyes, there are hazel eyes. Some people have like blue-green eyes. It's very rare, but violet eyes, gray eyes, right? Those are different, and some people have really, really like dark, almost black eyes, okay? So we know it's not always this clear-cut. What we're really looking at when we're looking at traits such as eyes, such as skin color, such as hair color, hair texture, and things like that, what we're really looking at is polygenic traits, okay? Now, a polygenic trait, let's break down what exactly that means. What does it mean to be polygenic? Okay, so poly, right? If I'm going to break down that word poly, all that means, let me zoom in, okay? Poly just means many, okay? And in this case, genetics, so we're just dealing with genes, okay? So there are many genes that go into skin color, okay? Like with eyes, skin color is not, you're not just black or white, right? Some people are darker than others, some people are lighter than others, okay? We have this range of color, okay? And so when we're talking about polygenic inheritance, we're talking about, even though the trait itself, right, we're talking about skin color trait. That is the trait. However, that trait is composed of different alleles. It's composed of different genes for just this one trait, okay? Stay with me here. So far, we've been only talking about one trait, one allele, one gene, okay? However, some traits don't work that way. Again, if we're talking about skin color, hair color, eye color, right? Things like that, those are polygenic traits. There's more than one allele that goes into what color, what texture, etc. that's going to be the outcome, okay? Now, I'm not really going to read all this because at this point, we should know the difference between dominant, recessive, and all that stuff, okay? So, let's talk about what the actual name of the assignment, where it says trihybrid, okay? So, monohybrid, cross, meaning we're usually only dealing with one letter or allele, right? One specific letter, and again, the alleles, we either have our dominant or recessive, and again, I'm not going to go into that, okay? When we're talking about a trihybrid, again, let's break down the word. Tri means 3. So a trihybrid cross, we're dealing with 3 letters. Okay? So if we look here, right, what are the letters for, in this case, for skin color, we're using A, B, and C. And so what we've done, if we look here at this example, this is the cross. So parent number 1 has heterozygous alleles for A, heterozygous alleles for B, and heterozygous alleles for C. Same thing with parent 2. It also has heterozygous for A, heterozygous for B, and heterozygous for C. Okay? And so we've crossed, right? We've crossed those parents. If they were to have offspring, right? They're exchanging DNA, right? We get half from mom and half from dad. All right. So, however, what are the possibilities for the babies that they will have? Now, like with math, the more numbers we add, the more complicated the problem gets, okay? So, instead of our usual one letter where we only have 4 boxes, 4 offsprings to deal with, now we've crossed 3 letters, right? 3 alleles in the sense of A, B, and C, and now we have an even bigger Punnett square. So think of this as just a giant Punnett square, a more expanded Punnett square, a more complex Punnett square. And as human beings, we are complex, okay? So if we look right here, and I'm gonna zoom in, okay? This is the crossing, right? And I'm not really going to explain super in depth the trihybrid in the sense of like you solving a problem. I'm just going to explain a little bit of how it works, okay? So if we break up, right, these genes, right? So kind of like with the regular monohybrid, right? Let's say our parent 1 had capital B little b, and parent 2 had capital B little b, right? We usually split those apart. So for parent 1, right, parent 1, I'm going to split up their allele, right? I'm going to put capital B here and little b over here. Same thing with parent 2. I'm going to put capital B here and little b here. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, but now again, as stated earlier, we have more letters in the mix, okay? So it just makes it a little more complicated. And so these are all the possibilities of what those babies, those skin color of the babies, okay? I'm not going to explain further in depth because that's your job as you answer these questions, okay? So let's break down, though, what each question is asking, okay? That I can do. The Punnett square on the previous page, so this big one right here, okay, represents a cross between 2 medium skin toned people, okay? So again, 2 people, right? Male and female. make babies, okay? Parent 1, again, it doesn't matter, mom, dad, whoever is parent 1 or parent 2, okay? Parent 1, parent 2. These are, so both of them, they have the same type of alleles, right? So both of them are medium skin tone, okay? And it's also stated here. So what you are doing is you are going to analyze this trihybrid cross. And you're going to do that by answering these questions here. Okay, so this Punnett square has various combinations as stated earlier. We've already talked about this because we're dealing with, instead of the one, the monohybrid, right? Instead of one letter, we're dealing with 3 letters. So more complications, however, more combinations. Okay, so what are 3 possible phenotypes? Okay, physical. What do we physically see? Give 3 examples, okay? So what is the trait that we are talking about? Well, we're talking about skin color, okay? So what are 3 phenotypes? What are the 3 physical possible, if I look at one of their children, what do I, if they were to have a baby, what do I expect to see? 3 possible options. What do I expect to see? Okay? Number 2. Based on the Punnett square, even though the parents are both medium skinned, sorry, that threw me off, medium skinned, is there a chance that they will have a child with the darkest of dark skin? If so, what are the chances? Okay, so when we're dealing with chances, we're dealing with probability. And when we're dealing with probability, we're dealing with a little bit of math, okay? So hint, there are 64 boxes, so your answer should be out of 64. And what that means is, I can get rid of this real quick. So what that means, right, you're going to find out how many out of the 64, the percentage, the chance, the probability, okay, out of those 64 possible babies, right? How many are going to have the darkest of dark skin? Again, I'm not going to tell you the answer, right? What's going to help you answer these questions? This beautiful, big, giant, complex Punnett square, okay? Same thing for number 3. Instead of now we're talking about the lightest of light skin, okay? Number 4, which phenotype is most likely, meaning the higher chance, the highest probability, the most likely, okay? So you could be Mari in this situation. What is the probability that this child is going to be this particular phenotype? Again, phenotype. What are the possibilities? What am I physically possibly going to see from this baby, okay? From this offspring. All right. Number 5, based on the Punnett square, is predicting a polygenic trait such as skin color is simple or complex? I ain't even going to answer that. Because we've already, I don't know how much I've said one of those answers already. Number 6, how does this Punnett square answer our guiding question? Okay, so if we remember our guiding question, okay, how is it possible that twins are born with such different skin colors and traits? So how does this Punnett square, this trihybrid cross, how does it explain that our 2 twins are so vastly different? Okay, and of course you're going to use these words to help you answer that question, okay? Probability or chance, okay? Dominant, recessive, genotype, and phenotype. Again, all words we've covered thus far. You're just now adding a level of complexity by talking about this trihybrid cross, by talking about polygenic traits. All right, I hope this video has been helpful to you. And you guys have a wonderful evening, morning, whenever you are watching this. Later, guys.